Now that the drive shaft, oil pan, transmission, all that stuff is taken care of, we can finally move on to adding some new parts to the car. Now before, I was dealing with a lot of positive crank pressure. That was the result of a lot of the blow-by from the cylinders being worn out. The machine work and oversized piston should address the bulk of that issue, but just to be safe, I'm going to be running a new catch can setup. I ended up going with the Nuke Performance catch can as opposed to going with like radium or going through our sponsor Mishimoto to make sure that I got everything that I wanted in the catch can. So this is Nuke Performance's 3/4 liter or 0.75 liter catch can. It comes with a lot of cool features, which is why I decided to go with this one versus the other brands. It comes with all the parts you see here. So you've got your 3 fittings, you got a plug, and a little vent to atmosphere. One of the big things is it actually comes with a dipstick to check to see how much oil you actually have inside your catch can. That way you can kind of keep an eye on it for draining it and stuff. It's got an O-ring seal on it. And that, I believe, is a standard feature on all of their models. Don't quote me on it, but I believe so. Dash 10 fittings for your 2 inlets. Doesn't really matter which one's which, but I'm feeding 2 because the 2JZ has 2 feeds for it. Now, the big reason why I went for this one is their outlet. So you've got a few options. One that we'll be using is they're just kind of open or vent to atmosphere. So the pressure, once it comes in and separates from the oil, that air can just release out. Now this would be more for our racing or our track days. And that's because when I'm on the track, I don't necessarily care about if I see a little bit of that steam or smoke coming out of the hood of the car. So we're using that one for our track setup. But I can just as easy swap from that to our street driven setup by removing this, and they all just thread right on. I believe they're all dash 10 sizes. Add in our 3rd fitting. And now we go from being just a catch can to an actual air oil separator. Our 2 inlets, and now with our outlet, a dash 10 as well. We can actually pull a vacuum from in front of the turbo by running a line from the fitting to our turbo pipe and allowing it to pull from there. So now that we're not dealing with the smoke, we're pulling in that air that's coming out of the cylinder head and sending it back into the engine, kind of re-scavenging or recycling. Have no idea what that does for like emissions compliance or if that helps with that at all. Honestly, I don't really care. The car's old now, so the emission stuff goes right out the window, at least here in North Carolina. Oh yeah, one other feature. It's got it's a plug in there right now, but you can thread in a valve. So it's got a plug in there now, but you can also throw in one of those little petcocks or valves or whatever. Let me just show you what I'm talking about. So it's got a plug in there now, but you have the option to remove the plug and put in one of these check valves or just one of these drainage valves, and you can actually drain the oil straight from the catch can without having to remove it, which is probably what I'll do. I'll just run a rubber hose off of this and kind of let it hang out behind the back of the wheel, the front wheel, and that way when it's time to drain it, I don't have to pull it. I can just switch the valve and let it drain out into a pan. Also, you guys can see the size difference, the quality difference. This one's kind of sealed up pretty tight, and I don't feel like taking the screws out to show the difference, but see, this one's pretty cheap. It's just threaded on seal. And it's got some baffling. This one really wasn't that bad for the price. I couldn't have paid more than like more than 20 bucks for it. This one was a couple hundred, but again, you can see the size difference here. This was just way too small for what we're trying to do. I mean, the compressor wheel on the turbo is bigger than this. This will do just fine. So I decided to pull the screws out anyway. Try to keep everything together. So the baffling kind of works that way. Now they do offer a higher level one, or I guess higher stage if you want to call it that, but I'm not too sure on what that is. When you're putting it in, you want to make sure you align. You see there's a little groove that's cut out for that, and that's made for this vent to make sure that it doesn't get blocked. But yeah, that's the rundown of the Nuke Performance catch can / oil separator. They do have a performance line that's a little more in depth, and they also have a bigger option for a 1 liter or maybe a 1.5 liter. So if any of you are BMW or E46 owners out there, you guys will understand right away why this is the spot I'm going with for our catch can location. The different models that E46 is across the pre-facelift, post-facelift years used these areas for different spots for different things. I think in the silver car over here they have the DSC and stuff set up on this side, but in this 2001 325 Ci there's absolutely nothing in there aside from the power cable for this really battery terminal point. So we're going to fill that up with our catch can. I'm going to just mount it up onto this little wall right here, and if that doesn't work, I may move it down over here. But I'm going to try right here first, just because it gives me the shortest distance from our Radium Engineering banjo bolts over to this. So first off, I'm going to mark, just taking the bracket, gonna mark where I want it, and then I'll drill a couple holes. Okay, so excuse the mess, but another big reason I wanted to run this one is you can see this opening right here that goes straight down to behind the fender liner of the wheel well. That's where I want to run my oil drain through. So that's another reason I want to use this particular location, because it's super convenient to just come in here, pop a valve, let the oil drain out underneath, not have to remove the catch can at all. So alright, so got my 2 bolt holes marked. Now I'm just going to drill those out. I do have a bit of the heat shielding or that fiberglassy stuff on the back side. I'm going to try to retain that just because the turbo sits right here, and just drill through these 2 right there. There we go. Now we're sitting right. So we're able to do that. Still keep that heat shielding back there. Grab a couple of nuts, some few washers. So there it is. We got our catch can. Right, so there it is. We got our catch can installed. Let it hang there. Now eventually I am going to put a valve underneath so I can drain where I want to. And you look, it lines up perfectly, just the way I wanted it to. So, Nuke Performance, their street and performance catch can. Right now it's set up for like the vented atmosphere, but to be more like the track setup. And now the last thing to do is run our dash 8s, our dash chin lines. Well, we finished the catch can, and I gotta say, it turned out great. Just look at this. Got everything set up. The catch can, I don't have the drain on there, so I still gotta buy that. It doesn't come with it. Got our dash chins. Got these really nice fire sleeves from Chase Base. Really inexpensive too. But we got that all piped up. It goes all the way over to our Radium Engineering press fit banjo fittings coming off of each side. So they actually advertise on the website that the press fittings on the intake side doesn't work for a VVTi motor, but as you can see, I got it in there. I don't know, it seems like it's just fine. I obviously haven't run the car yet to see if there's any leaks or issues with it, but from what I can tell, it's fit in the same way that the exhaust side went in. So my guess is they just didn't have a VVTi motor to test the intake side on. They just know that the exhaust side is the same between both models. But anyway, here's one more look at it. Those press fits, that's the intake side, looks the same. Exhaust side, dash chin, Chase Base fire sleeve. Definitely check out Chase Base for that. You're gonna see a lot more of the fire sleeve in the car in the coming future. And then, of course, the Nuke Performance catch can. I did some looking online again. This is actually called their performance model. They have a one more higher level. I think it's like the carbon model, but I don't really need that high of a level for stuff yet. I just gotta get the car running. Well, that's it for this video. Once again, thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like the video, comment below if you think this catch can is gonna fix our crank pressure problems, or if I just spent a bunch of money on something that I didn't really need. Yeah. We appreciate your support. Later.